This is a video about Luffy's Gear 5, however this is a part 2 to a video that I've already made which addresses Luffy's awakening. I'll be talking about his awakening in Gear 5. Gear 5 will be necessary for his awakening, so if you haven't watched that video I'm going to leave it in the info bar and the description below, and I will leave it in the description below so you can check it as well. Please go watch that video, then come back to this video, otherwise you may be a bit confused. Anyway, onto the video. Now, Luffy's Gear 5. What is Luffy's Gear 5 going to be? First of all, I believe it's going to be Luffy's awakening plus a full body armament haki. Like I said in the other video, if you're still here, go watch that video. Luffy's awakening will turn his whole body into vulcanized rubber. And you know that when Luffy uses haki, he already becomes vulcanized, but vulcanized rubber he will achieve will be equal or slightly surpass what he is when he uses Boundman. And I believe Luffy will be able to use advanced armament haki in Boundman soon. So this will be before Luffy gets advanced armament haki, or it will be equal to Luffy when he uses advanced armament haki. Now because it'll just be Luffy's base form and then he awakens, turning him into vulcanized rubber, and then he adds full armament haki onto his body. How his body looks right now in Wano would be how Luffy looks when he goes into Gear 5. He won't be looking big like how he does in Gear 4 or Gear 3, it'll be slim and slick like how he is in his base form and how he's in Gear 2. Now before I actually enter what I believe Luffy's Gear 5 will be like, I want to talk about what Luffy's Gear 5 won't be like. First of all, it won't be a hybrid of every single Gear 4. He'll be implementing different stuff from each Gear 4, however it will not be a hybrid. We won't be seeing Luffy in Tankman being able to do stuff just as well as he can in Snake Man with a Boundman body. It wouldn't happen, something like that won't happen. Another thing is, Luffy's Gear 5 won't be Gear 3 plus Gear 4. Luffy's mixed gears before, but he never called them a new gear. Every single gear Luffy has is different. In Gear 2, pumps blood around his body. Gear 3, he pushed air into his bones. And Gear 4, it was muscles that time. So Gear 5 will be completely different to any of the other gears we've seen, and they will be making Luffy double the strength as how he is in any one of his Gear 4 forms. I did say it won't be a hybrid of Gear 4, but that doesn't mean it won't be taking the good stuff from Gear 4. When Luffy's in Gear 5, Luffy will be very strong, fast, and tanky. That will be a mixture of every single Gear 4 we've seen so far. Boundman, Snake Man, and Tankman. He'll be taking the durability from Tankman, the speed from Snake Man, the flexibility, the stretchiness from Snake Man, and the strength from Boundman. In Gear 5, Luffy will also be able to use advanced armament haki and advanced observation haki, which makes him even more strong than he would be if you're just using normal armament haki. This will be a combination of everything that Luffy has learned so far on his journey to trying to get the One Piece. That includes everything he can think of into this one form. Another thing is the power and how it's used. Cool base form Gear 1. Gear 1, Gear 2 and Gear 3, they were all working off of his flexion of his rubber body. But in Gear 4 that will switch to compression. Compression is a better version of how he was when he was flexible, and it makes him stronger. Now I'm going to talk about abilities with Gear 5. If you like the video so far, like so I know. Gear 5 will have Luffy being able to run and just combust into fire. The reason I say that is because every single one of Luffy's abilities that he has, he's managed to upgrade. Whether that was Gear 3 Elephant Gun into King Kong Gun, or Kong Gun, or Gatling Gun, which he upgraded into Gomu Gun. Luffy has one ability that hasn't been upgraded, and that is Red Hawk. Red Hawk is very important. It's very important not only because it's used to remember a spy, but it's also important for the rest of the story, which I'll get to in a sec. But the fact that that's the only ability that Luffy hasn't managed to upgrade, and considering how important and how unique that ability is, it would be really weird to not see that get upgraded into a better version of Red Hawk, or for him to at least be able to put it into a gear other than Gear 2, because that's the only thing we've seen him using it in, and he hasn't even used it in Gear 4. Now the problem with Red Hawk is that we've only ever seen him use it when he's stretching his arms. In Gear 4 he's compressing his arms, which makes it make sense why he can't use it. However, the difference between Gear 4 and Gear 5 will be not only the speed, but how vulcanized his rubber is. The more vulcanized rubber is, the less heat resistant it is and the more stretchy it is, meaning that Luffy will, in Gear 5, will be able to stretch his arms out more than how he does in Snake Man, and you'll be able to hit harder more than how he can in Boundman. And like I said before, because the more vulcanized rubber gets, the stronger it gets and the more flexible it gets, but the less heat resistant it gets. The problem is Luffy stretches his arms first and has it burn into Red Hawk when he uses it in Gear 2, but in Gear 4 he compresses it and lets it stretch, which is two different ways of using his form, which is probably why Luffy has never managed to use Red Hawk in any of his Gear 4 forms so far. But in Gear 5 he'll be more vulcanized, meaning he's less heat resistant, so he'll be able to combust easier and he'll be moving faster. If you want a complete breakdown of what I mean when I say this, and you still haven't watched my video on Luffy's Gear 5 Awakening, go watch that, seriously. But that will be how Luffy is able to use Red Hawk, or whatever he calls the upgraded version of Red Hawk, because this will easily be the upgraded version of Red Hawk. Now I'm going to show you how this is actually going to get implemented into the story, which is why my theory is completely different to everyone else's theories. All of these other theories, we see they seem cool. Luffy can turn into environments of rubber, he can cover stuff in rubber, but they don't make sense. They don't make sense, because Luffy can only manipulate his body, but he can't produce rubber, so why would he be able to produce rubber from his surroundings suddenly? This theory makes sense. It's necessary for the next arcs, because eventually Luffy is going to fight Blackbeard, a man who is just as responsible as Sakazuki is for Ace's death, and now that's very important. It makes sense for Luffy to be using this Red Hawk against a person who is responsible for Ace's death, which is why Red Hawk will come. Now so far, Blackbeard has two fruits, the Guru Guru no Mi and the Yami Yami no Mi. Vulcanized rubber in real life is very shock resistant. In fact, some are even completely shock resistant, making it make sense why Luffy's vulcanized rubber would be his awakening, and why Gear 5 makes sense so far, because the more haki he uses, the more vulcanized his rubber would be, and the more shock resistant he is, and that would mean that Blackbeard's Goro Goro no Mi, the Tremor Tremor fruit, would be useless against Luffy, and the only problem left would be Blackbeard's Yami Yami no Mi, which is the Dark Dark fruit. Now we know that if anyone is to touch the Dark Dark fruit, it affects their abilities. When Blackbeard was fighting Ace, Ace was dealing with even though Ace lost, Blackbeard was having a very hard time dealing with Ace. Blackbeard is a person who can rival Shanks, and we know that because of the fact that he gave Shanks a scar. Ace isn't that strong, yet he was able to do with Blackbeard what he did to Blackbeard because of the Devil Fruit. His Devil Fruit is very important to taking down Blackbeard, and Luffy upgrading and using that ability is necessary to take down Blackbeard, because we already know that Blackbeard is going to get in the way of Luffy and getting the One Piece, because Blackbeard wants the One Piece just as much as Luffy does. Now the reason why Luffy is going to upgrade Red Hawk is because Blackbeard is a Yonko, and more than that, Blackbeard is someone who can rival a Yonko, meaning if Luffy was to try and take on a Yonko in Gear 2nd, that wouldn't go too well. Gear 4 does not rival a Yonko, it's not strong enough to take out a Yonko, or at least the forms of Gear 4 he has so far, meaning Luffy is going to have to get another Gear 5. Whether that is against Kaido or not, it's a completely different story. He might get Gear 5 against Kaido, he might not, he might get a different Gear 4, it doesn't matter. Luffy's going to take down Kaido, but Blackbeard and his Devil Fruits are the real problem, because if Luffy awakens in any other way, Luffy will pretty much lose in a one-on-one. Because Luffy is rubber, he can basically deal with Blackbeard's Goro Goro no Mi, but Luffy likes to rush him head on, he doesn't like to think. Luffy against the Yami Yami no Mi would be the end of Luffy if he doesn't awaken and go into Gear 5 this way. If Gear 5 is any other way, Luffy is basically done. The way Luffy will be able to defeat Blackbeard with Red Hawk is the range. When Luffy upgrades Red Hawk, he will have more range. We've already seen in Wano that Luffy has more range when he uses Red Hawk, but he'd have even more when he's in Gear 5, meaning Luffy doesn't need to touch Blackbeard when he's fighting him because of the range of the upgraded version of Red Hawk. Now, if Luffy doesn't need to touch Blackbeard when he's using the Yami Yami no Mi, and Goro Goro no Mi is completely useless against Luffy, Luffy has a chance of defeating Blackbeard. I would personally say that Blackbeard would be Luffy's hardest challenge yet, because it's someone he can't actually hit. Kaido's a problem, but at least Luffy can hit Kaido. Luffy can get in Kaido's face, he can hit him, and there won't be any repercussions, even though he did get one shot before. Blackbeard, he can't touch Blackbeard. If he touches Blackbeard, even though it takes Blackbeard time to cover his body in the Yami Yami no Mi, and it takes him time to use it, if he's got more proficient with the Devil Fruit, he can use it basically instantaneously. That would mean that Luffy cannot touch Blackbeard, and it mean that Red Hawk would be very important to taking down Blackbeard. And it makes sense for Luffy to use the ability that he uses to remember Ace to defeat the person who is responsible for the death of Ace, which is why I believe Luffy's Gear 5 will be like this, and Luffy's abilities will be like this. Now Gear 5 is different from baseball Gear 2 and Gear 3 because it will still be implementing compression, but the speed of his attacks as well as the strength will mean that even if he's compressing, it doesn't make that much difference, because he just combusts anyway. Then a simple punch from Luffy in Gear 5 will have fire at the very start of it anyway, and even if it doesn't, he can start running and his whole body will turn into fire, and then he can do the attack, making everything make sense. That's my theory on Luffy's Gear 5. Subscribe to see more content like this, because I make content like this regularly, and I do manage to actually put my theories into the future of the story. So subscribe if you want to see theories that make sense and can be proven to make sense, and comment if you agree with my theory or disagree with my theory. I want to see what you guys think and what you guys think your awakeners. We can have a back and forth. I'm interested. Anyway, that's all Mushoku signing out. Peace. Subscribe.